Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate, the weekly armchair kickoff show that covers all things Manchester United. I am absolutely delighted to say that I am joined by Adam from Mad Red United, and we've got lots to talk about this evening. We're going to talk about the Paris Saint-Germain game, which was last night. We're going to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and how he's getting on tactically, because he's come in for some criticism from media and fans alike. And of course, we'll preview West Ham. And we're even going to throw in a wee recap of the David Moyes era, as if things weren't grim enough. Adam, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Cheers for having us on again, mate.
The first thing I want to ask you is, what did you make of last night? What did you make of the team selection? And what did you make of the first half in particular?
I thought, we looked at the team and we could understand the team. We thought we had enough in the front four to take care of what I thought was PSG's weak point in their defence. The first half I thought we was just lucky in the end, mate, because we know Fred should have been sent off twice in the first half. How he got away with it, I do not know. I've just had the same argument with a lot of people saying you can't blame Ole, but you know what, he should have brought Fred off at half time and then we wouldn't have had the issue for me. Because in the second half, we were miles on top and I thought we should have took advantage of our luck from the first half. And that's where I thought it all went wrong, because I don't think PSG were going to beat us unless we were down to 10 men. I thought if we had everyone still on the pitch, we still would have scored and got the equaliser. First half, it just one of them. PSG were pretty much on top. We got lucky with the goal, but we just seemed to always look like we had that little threat, which gave me confidence. I feared, like everyone did, when seeing the replay of Fred and what he did, and I thought that was it. And I thought, wow, we got away with one there. Can we take advantage of it? But that all came down to what Ollie did at half time, and in the end, ultimately, that cost us, mate.
And in terms of the selection, there was a lot of criticism on social media regarding Scott McTominay starting the game. Was that something that particularly bothered you? Or do you think when you're playing a team like Paris Saint-Germain at home, you would expect someone like McTominay to start, even though Fred was in the team as well?
Yeah, I mean, we were not surprised. We all wanted Donny to play again, but he just doesn't seem to fit into the team when everyone's fit, which is a little bit of a worry. But Scott McTominay, I didn't think Scott McTominay was bad last night. I thought he was one of our better players. I thought defensively he did his duties superbly well. We know he's limited going forward, as is Fred, which made everyone think was going defensively in that game. But I wasn't surprised when I seen Scott McTominay. I thought he does bring us something in them bigger games. He did when we was in Paris. I thought he was okay there as well. And he had a great battle alongside Neymar last night. Neymar came up trumps in the end, obviously, but I do feel like McTominay gave a good account of himself last night. He played well. He did some good interceptions and read the game really well. So for me, I thought I had no problem with Scott coming in. I was more on the side of I'm just gutted that I don't see more of Donny van der Beek. So it wasn't anything against Scott McTominay. But it's like some people just said on my show, then the love affair with Scott McTominay will end up losing Ollie's job. But see, he's just going to have to learn how to adapt this squad and to try and get Donny van der Beek in the team, because, like I said, he's better than what's playing, and that's the problem with a lot of United fans. Scott McTominay plays a different game altogether. He's like, I've said it many times, he's the new Nicky Butt, Phil Neville of this football club. And he will do you a job, and he did do last night. So I'm not going to slag McTominay off because I thought he was good. But would Donny have done any more? It all falls into insignificance because of what happened with Fred. The tactics probably would have been right, and we would have been saying Ollie made the right choice in selecting Scott McTominay. But Fred let everyone down, and I thought Ollie made a mistake in not bringing him off. So I have no problem with Scott McTominay's performance last night. It's a shame that it went unrewarded in the end, but that's what you get in European football. You don't take advantage of the lucky breaks you get, which we did. You get punished, and in the end it just proved too much for us, and we ended up losing and putting ourselves in the sticky spot we're in now.
And in regards to Fred, you hit the nail on the head there. I think Ollie accepts after the game he should have been taken off. He was lucky to escape red in the first half, and I think watching the game, you just knew that at some point in the game he was going to go in for another challenge and put himself at risk. what frustrated me about the fact he stayed on the pitch is you've got Matic on the bench, you've got Van de Beek on the bench, as we've talked about, and you've crucially got Pogba on the bench as well. So you've got three midfielders who could have come on for a 45-minute spell just after half time and done the job for United. I mean, in Matic, you've got the holder, you've got that defensive option. Or in Van de Beek, you've got a guy who really excelled in his first start for the club, and of course we all know what Pogba can do when he's feeling it and when he's in form. But the fact he stayed on the pitch has led to a lot of criticism for Ollie, and I agree with you. I think it is harsh because if Fred had stayed on the pitch, I think we would have been talking about a different game, and Keane's getting in touch to say that Matic should have been on at half time, and I can see that argument. Ultimately, how angry do you think Ollie will be with himself this morning when he reflects on that game?
I don't know, do we? Because he always seems to try and defend his actions or come up with some form of excuse for what actually happened. I mean, I've seen him complaining when Fred got sent off, and I'm like, you cannot be serious. You cannot be serious in saying that you actually think that was unfair, because that's the way it was coming across. Yeah, the tackle was unfair. It wasn't a yellow card, but he should have been sent off twice in the first half. So let's not forget that. The reason we played so well in the second half is because we got lucky in the first half. That's my opinion on it. But I just feel like the half-time substitution, like you said, and it's even more inexcusable because we had 5 subs last night. 5 subs, and we had 3 central midfielders, like you said, who could have come on. And the fact that none of them came on, and in the end that cost us the game, I'll still hold it. I still think we would have got another goal, even though we did go behind before Fred got sent off. Literally, it was in the same minute anyway, wasn't it, when he did the tackle? I still think that the half-time substitution was inexcusable. He should have brought Matic, Donny van der Beek or Pogba. Any one of them would have been okay for us, because I think Scott was ample cover already and he was dealing with a lot. The defence really were never overly stretched or in massive trouble, and it took us going down to 10 men for us to actually look like we were being opened up properly. Yeah, the first early goal for Neymar on its own, just one of them moments where it just flicked through and just a great finish. You know that's going to happen with them players, but other than that, I don't think De Gea was really saving much to really say you're concerned until we went down to 10 men. So you have to look at it and go, we were in control of that game, and yeah, it was good when we had 11 men, and people are saying you can't blame Ollie for that. Yeah, it was right, but Ollie's in charge. Fred's not going to bring himself off, and it was obvious. We know, mate. We know how football works. The ref would have gone in at half time, seen the headbutt again, seen the yellow that he should have given to Fred out of anything for the second challenge in the first half, and as soon as Fred went to ground or did anything, then PSG players came and would have been all over the ref, and I'm convinced that's what Tuchel did when he brought Ander Herrera on, because he is the perfect man to wind someone up and get that red card. You did it for us brilliantly, and I knew as soon as Herrera came on, I thought, oh, here we go. This is how he's going to do it. This is the moment, and it had to be him, didn't it? You knew it, but it could have all been avoided, mate, with that half-time substitute.
Absolutely, and I want to get your opinion on Anthony Martial in particular. I was speaking on Beyond the Pitch this week, and I was saying to Phil Brown that Cavani, for me, I prefer when he starts, because for me he's an out-and-out number 9, and he holds the ball up and can get United up the pitch, especially if they're trying to play on a counter. Martial, for me, I'm going to be honest, I think he goes through hot and cold patches, as we know, and I don't think he's the man United should be relying on as their number 9 long term. I don't know if you've got a different opinion to me in that one, but I just feel that as much as I like him and I love watching him when he's on form and he's on a purple patch, I just feel over the course of a season he doesn't do enough for me to suggest he's the man up top to take United to challenging for titles and going far in Europe.
Well, that's it, mate. With Martial, I think we all got drawn in. I was really impressed with him last season. How he took on that number 9 role on his own. I thought, oh, here we go. He's got it. But it's like I said it on my video earlier on, and our kid was speaking to me today. He said he didn't sleep last night because of the result. He was wound up. But what he was saying was, he said, have you not noticed what work and how it works with Martial? When he's number one and he knows he's got the place down, he's brilliant. But when he's got competition around him, and he pointed out the times through his United career, because he pointed out when he came in, Van Gaal, first season, everyone will admit he was brilliant, he was fantastic, and everyone goes back to that season. But then, when Mourinho came in, obviously Zlatan came in, and we all seen the stink that he kicked up then. Zlatan was number one, and you can't argue with that. Zlatan's goals have absolutely eclipsed anything that Martial's done so far, and that was in his first season. So you've got Zlatan the first time, then Lukaku comes in for Mourinho, and he's number one. Martial a bit on the peripheral again. We don't see the best of him. You can argue Mourinho may be at fault there, but still, again, he wasn't really up for fighting for his place, or when he did get a chance was at his best. And now all of a sudden Cavani's in again. Proper number 9s that are coming in, although Lukaku failed ultimately in the end. Proper number 9s who look absolutely, well, they all look brilliant, don't they, in the day as a number 9. Martial is stuck in between that winger and the forward sort of position, but when the going gets tough, he's just not the man that you really can rely on to sort of, put in that performance when he needs to make a stake for the team. He's like, I should be playing in this team every week, and this is the mentality that a lot of these players have got. It's like, I can play bad this week, but I know I'm going to be playing next week. And as soon as someone comes in and challenges them, then you see the real character in it. And we're seeing this all the time with Martial. I don't want to knock him down because I love Martial and I think he's brilliant on his day. His day doesn't come around enough though, mate. And the problem is, I think when he's got competition, he just doesn't do the same things. He's not fighting for his position in that team right now for me. And then finishes last night, it was criminal, mate. They're absolutely criminal. The first miss especially, that's got to go in. If you're a proper striker, it goes in. You can see the confidence is drained out of him in front of goal right now. Because we're over a quarter of the way through the season, mate. And what's he got? 2 goals in the Champions League. One of them was a gifted penalty. There's plenty of games gone, mate. And it's not good enough compared to where he finished last season. And you just got to wonder why he's so far off the boil. And lo and behold, we have brought another striker in again. And is the same thing happening again?
Well, Keane got in touch a couple of minutes ago to say United regretting, of course, missing out on Erling Braut Haaland, which I think most teams in Europe that aren't Borussia Dortmund, Keane will be feeling the exact same, because he's the sort of striker that I would argue would add to any team in the world. I mean, people even talk about the likes of Liverpool and City being the so-called top 2 in England. He would walk into their team and play up top. So for me, any team would benefit from a striker like him. As we know with United, unfortunately, he's not a player I would imagine United will sign in the near future. That ship has sailed, because when you don't sign him at an affordable price, you're not going to sign him when they ask for a premium price, as we've seen in many times in recent years. In terms of the striking position long term, Cavani's got another year option after this one. Do you see Cavani staying for another year after this one, or do you think United should make an out-and-out number 9 the priority for next summer?
I think Cavani stays another season, mate, because I think they're going to try and prioritise the defence. It's quite clear to everyone where our weakness is going forward, and it's the defence. We know we've got too many injury-prone defenders, and the worry is, though, obviously, if we can't flog the other defenders that are lingering around, like Rojo, Jones, players like this, we can't get rid of them. Can we bring a centre-back in? But the priority has to be now that defence, because it's just not working. It's just not strong enough to play. For us to take advantage of our main attribute and our best part of our game, which is the forward play and our forwards, we need a solid back. Because at the moment, I said it all the time, and I keep saying it in all my videos, all he's setting up is defending a defence. And that's how he sets up. He sets up defensively as a whole team, because he knows the weak point is the defence. And that's where he spent most of his money. So I feel like he's going to have to spend more, because, yeah, Maguire, we spent all the money on him. I still think he's our best defender. But I just feel like he is going to have to get another one, because it's not going to work. It really isn't. You need, if you want to play that we're like the likes of City and Liverpool, who are the out and out attacking teams in this league, then you need someone like the defence that they've got, the dominant sort of defender. City have got it now. They seem to have got it sorted now at the back. Obviously, Laporte, and now you've got Diaz in there now. It looks like they've got it set again and they can play their style. Because when you're always thinking about what's behind you, the midfielders and the forwards, they cannot play with the same confidence. And if you know there's a weakness behind you, you've sort of half got that handbrake on. We have to find a way to just play our attacking football, because that's what's going to get us up the league. The defence hasn't got the capabilities to hold out, mate. It hasn't. We can't play defensively because we're not good enough at the back, and any decent team will pick us off. It's going to be a few ding-dongs, mate. There's going to be a few heart-in-mouth games, but that's the only way I see us moving forward. I do feel like Cavani, though, to answer the question, will come and sign an extension coming to the next season, because I don't see us going out buying another striker at the moment. I really don't. I think we'll cling on to him and try and strengthen up at the back. If they've got any sense, they'll do that, but who am I to say what's right and wrong with this? We're just fans at the end of the day, but we can all see where the issues are. Ollie seems to go completely opposite to what we all think now.
And in terms of strengthening that defence, we were able to see the impact that Bruno Fernandes had when he arrived in January. Do you think United could do the same if they sign a top defender in January? But crucially, I've just mentioned the January word. January, as we always hear from the hierarchy, is a tough time to sign players, and more often than not, your top targets aren't available. So are you expecting him to go with what he's got until the summer, or do you think they might try and get someone next month in?
Yeah, I think he's gonna miss the January one. I don't think there's anyone out there that's available that can strengthen us, and I just don't want us to go out and buy someone for the sake of it. We've done that before, unless it's someone of the quality of what Bruno was last January. I don't see it happening at all. I don't see us bringing anyone in. Let's not forget we've got Traore to come in, another young lad in January. We've obviously still got Police to come in, and I just feel like unless we can offload, like I said, the likes of a Jones and a Rojo, the squad and the costs of the wages of the squad isn't going to allow us in a certain climate to go out and buy in January. I think it'd be interesting to see who goes out, because we couldn't even sell players in the summer. We ended up loaning them all out, and then they've got to come back into next summer. So it's what it is, mate. I don't think it's going to be January, possibly into the summertime. I think that's when it's going to be, mate. Someone like the likes of Upamecano, when he's available. I don't think he'll be available in January, but I've been wrong before. But I don't see it this one, mate. I really don't see January coming in for us.
I've just saw a comment there from regular Shane Dowley saying that Diallo's going to lead us to 21 league titles. We all hope so, Shane, but don't put that pressure on him, because we don't want him to feel the burden quite so early. Just on the Champions League group, Adam, we're sitting here and we're talking about United going into the final game in this group top on 9 points, but Paris Saint-Germain and Leipzig are also on 9 points. You could argue that United, of course, have got a superior goal difference to Leipzig. So if the match between the sides ends a draw, United would progress. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't trust the defence to go into that game playing for a draw. How crucial is the Champions League in progression this season to Ollie? Do you think it's an absolute must in wanting to stay with the team long term? Or do you think progression in the league is key, and even if the club finishes third, people will be happy with that, considering?
Yeah, I think it's crucial that he gets through this group, mate, for his career as United manager. I really do. Because you look at it and go, right, okay, we have to beat West Ham, because it just holds us back up there. And I think every fan will admit where we are in the league right now with the points we've got compared to everyone else, we probably accept that. But everything that he did last summer is all for nothing. Everything that he did when we came back from lockdown, praise and all that's all for nothing if we don't get through this group. You know what I mean? United are in the Champions League to win the Champions League. no matter what anyone says. And to go out in the group stage, I just don't think it's going to help him going forward. Then if he does have another bad run in the league, he hasn't got the Champions League to fall back on. So I do feel like this Champions League group he has to get through. If he does, I think we'll see him to the end of the season. If he doesn't, I think there's a chance if things start to go a bit shaky in the league as well, with no Champions League to back him up, then that might be where the crunch talks and the awkward conversations come in. So he has to get through this group, mate. He really does. Last 16 takes him into next year. So we're looking at that and thinking, right, okay, start of the season, looking at that group, we'd accept that. That's good. That's sort of progress. Try and stay up there in the league, but he's always had that backup for the Champions League when he's had a bit of league form that's been a bit amiss. So without that Champions League, God forbid, back in the Europa League, I won't be able to handle the Europa League. It's horrible, and especially with you being in the Champions League and then dropping into it, even worse. And it's just going to make a lot of United fans not like him even more because we're in that with the likes of Arsenal again. It's just a horrible competition. So Champions League, mate, is a must for Ole and his career at United, I think.
We just got a question in, just going off topic, that asked us Pele, Messi or Maradona, or Pele, Zidane, sorry, or Maradona. Now, I can only comment, so it's come in from the Georgie 7. I can only comment and say that the only one of them I've been able to watch live is Zidane. Crucially, I don't think anyone, Adam, you might disagree, but I don't think you could say Zidane's better than Pele or Maradona. He's clearly a great player. As I say, the only one I've been able to watch live. So you could call me biased if I was to pick him. For me, out of those three, I would go Maradona. I think Maradona, not just because he's recently passed, you look at the clips, obviously I'm from Scotland, so we've got a special love for Maradona, of course, but I think people talk about the hand of God goal, and yes, you can say obviously it was cheating, it was poor sportsmanship, but the second goal for me redeems him as a football lover. That's the greatest goal ever scored at the World Cup. You think of what he achieved with Napoli as well. For me, it's got to be Maradona.
That's where I would go down the Napoli route, how he transformed one club from mediocrity to championship winning team. That's the difference. That's why I put Ronaldo ahead of Messi, because I know Ronaldo isn't. Obviously he thinks of his stats and his player honours and stuff like that, but he is all about winning for the team as well. I didn't see that in Messi. I just don't think Messi would be the same player at another club than he is at Barcelona, where he's got all his own way. Whereas Ronaldo's took it on himself. He's got down and got dirty at United in the English Premier League. He's been over to Italy. He's done it in Spain. He's done it on all the big occasions, and that's what Maradona did. Going to Napoli, could have gone anywhere, couldn't he? He could have picked any club in the world. They would have took him, and he went to Napoli and transformed a team. Like I said, from, you could say, like a West Ham, Everton sort of level to winning the league in Italy. It was just crazy how one man could do that. So, from what I've seen, I remember watching him in the '94 World Cup, Maradona, when it all went wrong for him, unfortunately. That was what I seen the most of, his bad times. But you got to look back and go, for you to do that with the amount of players that were around in them days, some good players, to do that to a team like Napoli sort of puts him at the top, I think.
I agree. I think for me, there's an argument he's the greatest player ever. I know people can put Ronaldo, Messi and Pele in that bracket, but I mean, Gary Lineker was telling some incredible stories about Maradona and the sheer skill that he had, even just in a warm-up, to get the crowds off their feet. Talking of Messi, while we're talking about sort of great players, there's a prominent French journalist reporting tonight. Jonathan Johnson has shared this on his Twitter, reporting that Messi will join Paris Saint-Germain next summer for free, signing a pre-contract in January. Do you think Messi joining a team like Paris Saint-Germain will be enough for them to win the Champions League that they desperately crave?
No, I don't, because they can't win it with Barcelona, and I think they're a better team than PSG. So if you can't win a Champions League, I know he's gone now, Suarez, but if you can't win a Champions League with the likes of Suarez and Griezmann around you, then you know what, I can't see him doing it with Neymar and Mbappe, and Mbappe was poor last night. So I think his contract's coming to an end now. So if Messi did go there, is Mbappe even going to be there? You know what I mean? There's bigger leagues, there's bigger teams than PSG. I just feel like their time will come to an end soon, and there's nothing that money can do to make them any better now. I don't think they tried it and they failed ultimately for me, unless they win it this year. God forbid, no. But no, I think their time is done, mate. I really do. I just think that Messi going there is going to make no difference. I don't think he's half the player that he was. And if the likes of Mbappe are leaving as well, which it does look like it could possibly be, then no, not for me, mate. I don't think he'll make any difference at all. He'll win another French title for him, but he won't win the Champions League. Not with that team.
I'm just so keen getting in touch again to say that Mbappe will be joining United. I don't know what Keane. I think Keane's been on the Magners a wee bit early tonight. That's Mbappe and Haaland giving in.
If Mbappe signed for United, then Martial would be doing his nut. He would collapse. He really would.
What wishful thinking there from Keane, but I love that optimism. You just never know. Maybe one day Ed Woodward and the Glazers will wake up and decide, I'm going to splash some cash on a world-class player to come in, but I don't hold my breath, if I'm honest. Looking ahead to this weekend, West Ham away, difficult place to go. Before we talk about the game itself, I want to reminisce with you about the David Moyes era. When, with hindsight, when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, it's obviously very easy for us to sit here now and say it was a disaster, etc. What was your gut feeling at the time, if you can remember how you felt when Moyes was announced? Because, again, there was that whole aspect of Sir Alex came from Scotland and worked his way up. David Moyes was going to bring the same to United. Obviously, people expected him to keep the staff on of René Meulensteen, Mike Phelan, Eric Steele. He didn't. He brought his own staff in, which René Meulensteen recently said was a massive mistake for Moyes in his opinion. What was your gut instinct at the time?
It was the unknown, mate. There was no real feeling because we were fresh off Ferguson's big hurrah and his big finale when we won the league again, and everyone was thinking, it's brilliant, it's this, it's that. And then it's like we knew he was leaving, but it was like the unknown. You just didn't know what was going to happen next. And you think, David Moyes, and you're thinking, would he be that bad? Does he deserve it? That was the ultimate feeling. It was like, does he deserve it? Shouldn't we have been going for like the Mourinho, who probably would have steadied the ship and kept us relevant instead of what David Moyes did, which was set us back 5 years. The backroom staff definitely give me sort of shivers down the spine when I saw, right, okay, he's getting rid of them and he's bringing in Everton's staff. How are the players going to take to it? And straight away, I think we found out, mate, how the players were going to take to it, because he went in and he just completely divided the dressing room. Absolutely got rid of everyone who was relevant at the club. Evra, Vidic, Ferdinand. You know what I mean? Giggs left after that season as well, after Moyes had left. It was just like anyone who was anyone was pretty much outed or left out in the cold. He was clinging on to Rooney to bail him out. Van Persie then went the other way. It just all went south very quickly, and there was no coming back from it. And then even when he spoke, he sort of killed himself in his interviews, mate. I mean, I'm not keen on Ollie in the way he talks, but David Moyes, whoa, mate, that was just horrible, horrible times. Especially when he was the famous one, wasn't it, when we came out and he said we aspire to play like Manchester City. And every single team broke their records that season. I think Everton won at Old Trafford for the first time in years. Newcastle, we had back-to-back defeats, 3-0 defeats in a week to City and Liverpool at Old Trafford. It was just a horrible time. It really was. It was just the pitch, mate. It's the worst it's ever been, I think. There's some bad times under Mourinho, but that week especially, the Liverpool City week under Moyes, was like, it made me feel, it was sad, mate. It was like there was no hope. All of a sudden, we'd gone from the massive high when Ferguson left to absolute bottom in the pitch, mate. That's how it felt. I just couldn't believe it went that quick.
It went incredibly quickly, as you say. Fell from champions to seventh place. David Moyes to this day still says he should have been given more time to turn it around in the summer transfer window. I'm guessing that by your comments you disagree with that, of course. He needs no motivation, no more extra motivation coming into this game against United at the weekend. He might say publicly, "Oh, it's just another game," but you and I know, any football fan knows, he'll be desperate anytime he can to get one up on United. For West Ham and Moyes, they're a sort of hot and cold team. They've got players that can trouble you. We saw Lanzini's incredible goal against Tottenham, and people talk about Declan Rice being a fantastic footballer. Personally, I think he's good, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as some of the media would have you believe. For me, I saw someone comparing him to Gareth Barry on Twitter, which made me smile because it's probably a fair comparison. But the fact he's young, obviously, and he's young, he's English, he can get into the national team, maybe hypes him up that wee bit quicker. In terms of this game, are you nervous at all going away to West Ham? Especially with the fact, as I've said, you've got that Moyes factor with the extra motivation.
I was there last season. It was horrible. It was horrible. We've had a really bad run at that stadium recently. I don't think we've won in the last 3. I think we drew 1 and lost 2. I mean, Mourinho was beaten. Ole was beaten badly last year. They even started getting up on us on Old Trafford as well, so they're a bit of a bogey team. So you would say in the law of averages in the Premier League that Moyes is due a defeat. I would love it to be this weekend, but you fear, like you just said, then David Moyes had a full week off, players rested, a full week to plan the demise of Man United, and he's going to be relishing it, mate. He's going to be chomping at the bit just to stink the place out and just snatch a win on us or something like that, just to halt us. And obviously, he's still bitter about his time at United. He says it every single time, mate, when he comes on the radio. I cannot stand him when he's on the radio, when he's talking like he deserved more time at Manchester United. The guy does my head in, mate. I cannot stand him. But I'm trying to not go hell-bent and go full on in on him here right now, because I know it'll backfire on me on Saturday when I've got to talk about it. So I'm fearing it a little bit because they're fresh. Antonio's back. You know what I mean? Every single one of their players they've hardly kicked a ball apart from in training all week, whereas we've been slugging it out with 10 men against PSG. How's our recovery times? You know what I mean? Martial's off. Rashford's got a bit of a knock. Bruno wasn't great last night, and it's like we had the whole up down of who's going to come into the team, what's Ollie going to do. They just seem to be a bit more settled than us, and that's always a worry.
Always a worry, I agree. And it'll be interesting to see how United do fare against West Ham, because coming off the back of any Champions League game is difficult. Never mind a game where you're down to 10 men for 20 minutes, you end up losing it. The manager, of course, has been questioned, as we've talked about already, so it's definitely going to be interesting. The crucial thing, I suppose, coming into it is, what starting 11 do you think Ollie's going to go with this weekend? Because it's crucial, as you've said, that he needs to keep the league form up. Incredibly, United are only 3 points off a third place with their game in hand, so it's doable. It's a Saturday game as well, albeit it's 5:30 and not 12:30. So I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will be delighted with that, because he obviously hates 12:30 for anything and everything. What team do you see United putting out on Saturday?
Mate, honestly, barring FA coming up with suspensions and whatnot, and Rashford being fit, I think it'll be the same team as it was last night, because he's going to play Fred, because Fred's going to have a week off because he's suspended for the Leipzig game. So I think Fred will play for that reason, because he knows he can then rest him. He's forced to rest him. Maybe Matic comes in for McTominay, or maybe he brings Greenwood in for Cavani, going off the age. That's the only way I can see it change. I don't think he's confident in anyone else coming in at the back. So I'd expect the back four and keeper to be the same. I expect Fred to play. Then it's a choice of maybe Matic and McTominay, because he is going to go 4-2-1-3, whatever it is that he likes to play there. Bruno will be playing because he needs a win, and he'll be playing his players who who are going to try and dig him out. You could say maybe he tries and brings a Mata in the front three somewhere, but ultimately, whenever Martial and Rashford are fit, they play. he doesn't change him. Will he rest Cavani? That's the one I think is the big decision. So honestly, I think we may be looking at a possible 2 changes in either Cavani's or McTominay's position. But other than that, it's sad to say because that means to me that I don't think Donny will start. It's going to be exactly as it was, and we're all going to be upset because Donny's on the bench again.
I've got to ask you before I get a score prediction and we wrap up. Paul Pogba, of course, is on the bench. To be fair to Oles, he's not playing him at the moment. His form's not been good enough. There's talk that he could sign a new contract to boost his value should United try and sell him. How many times have we heard that before? How does he solve the issue like Pogba? Speaking to Phil Brown on Beyond the Pitch, Phil basically said, I think United need to move him on, even maybe as soon as January, even if they can get the money they paid for him or slightly less, just to get him out the building and start building a team that wants to be there. Because does he want to be at the club? I mean, he's on the bench at the moment. That probably won't be doing his ego any good, as it wouldn't with any other player, to be fair to Paul. But how do United solve this problem? Because it's going to come to a head. You know, Ed Woodward's worst nightmare is a player's contract running down, especially when there's someone like Pogba who he sees as being marketable. So how do they solve it?
I do think that his time is up, mate, and that's not saying he's not good enough for his team. He's just come to the club at the wrong time. He's like a cherry on a nicely formed icing cake that's already set and is already perfect, and he can just add that little bit to it. I mean, look at Juventus where he was. Look at the team that he had around him there. You know, and he could play his game there because everyone was doing everything else for him. In this team, we're still a work in progress, and is Pogba the type of player that you want, that you need? Because the antics that he does, antics is the wrong word, I'm not going to say that, because the way he plays doesn't suit trying to dig yourself out of a hole, which we're in at the moment. It doesn't. I just think he's the right player at the wrong time for the club. And in the end, I think he will end up being moved on. I think it'd be better for him and his career, because I think he can do better things in another team that's well established and is settled, because we're anything but settled. And as long as that is the case at United, I don't think Pogba's ever going to work. I really don't. I don't think Ollie can figure him out now. And like you said, credit to Ollie for not playing him, taking away the old tag of the favourites thing coming in, and they play every single game. So I look at it and go, realistically, I don't want him to, but I think it's better for us, and I think it's better for Pogba that he does go now, because I just don't think 4 years on, he's never really lit the touch like paper, has it? He's never really done it and taken it. And you know what I mean? We all expected the impact that Bruno had. That was the impact we thought Pogba was going to give us. It's just not happened for him. It really hasn't. How he fits into this team, I couldn't tell you right now. I really couldn't, because I don't see him ahead of Van der Beek. I don't see him ahead of Bruno. And then you're struggling then, because I can't play him in that holding role because I don't think it suits him. So his position in this team at the moment is the bench, because of the way we've spent, because of the team that we've got. You know what I mean? It's hard to say, but this is what it is and what it should be at United. Good players should be sat on the bench. We should never expect our expectations and standards to drop. And if players can't handle that, then it's a sad state of affairs of where the club have dropped to. But it's the only way to uphold them standards is to say, look, if you're not willing to sit on the bench for United because this is United, then you're going to have to go, and we're going to have to try and find the best deal for the club that works, so we can replace you with someone else who is willing to accept that time on the bench is a given at United, because we've got a squad that all can play. So yeah, I feel bad because I think he can do a job for us somewhere. It's just the wrong time, mate. We're just not in a position to sort of take on a player like Pogba right now and make him work to his best of his capabilities, because look where he's played best, mate. It's with France and Juve. We've just not seen enough of it, and it says it all really, doesn't it? We're clinging on in hope, and in the end, I said it, I think the Pogba situation will be the one that makes or breaks Ole as Manchester United manager. So we will see, but I do agree. I think Pogba will be moving on, mate.
Jack Grealish to replace him, Keane suggesting yes or no?
I would take Grealish. I would have took Grealish in the summer when everyone was saying he's not that good. I mean, look at him now, man. He's He's a beast of a player, isn't he? He's just took it to that next level. And he had the conversation about, Grealish set himself some goals, didn't he? Get into the England squads, play in the European Championships. He probably would have if he was on. But he kept Villa up. He got into the England squad. So where is he now? What's he thinking now? Because he was tweeting the other night about fancying being in the Champions League and playing in it. He ain't going to do that with Villa. It's impossible. And what he's got left in his career, time-wise, Villa are not going to make the Champions League. That's a definite. So where does Jack Grealish set his next goals? He's done everything he can at Villa, I think, except win a trophy. Are they honestly going to do anything? I don't think so. So, yeah, there is an opportunity still there with him. I really do. I think we'll have our pants taken down for the price, as we always do. But can we get enough off Pogba to make that happen? I think he's perfect for the club. I really do.
Just before we go, Adam, score prediction. I am going to go first. I think United will win the game 2-0.
I said that before, mate. I'm going with 2-0 as well. I fancy it. I said all along, I totally contradicted myself before, saying don't even look for trying to get clean sheets this season because there's no defence in this league which is good enough to go and play defensive. It's all attack. Everyone's best attributes is attack. And then I went 2-0. I was like, oh, well, yeah, maybe we'll just get one clean sheet then.
Against David Moyes, it would be the perfect gift. Adam, thanks for joining us.
No worries, mate. Cheers for having us on, mate.
All the best.
Cheers, buddy. Take it easy.